Alright guys, so today we're talking about Gotham Knights. Now, being that the game is close to release, about a week or two away at this point, there's some news coming out. Obviously, some final gameplay previews are coming out, which is where most of this footage is from, IGN's final preview video. So if you want to just go watch that, go over to their channel, it's on there, and a bunch of other content creators have previews for early events that they were invited out. But let's talk about the newest news. So it's been going around the Twitter sphere about the graphics settings and performance for the game. And so currently, again, this could all be a rumor, it is all based off of a screenshot from a Discord. So who knows how reliable that is. I'll pull that up for you guys now if you want to read the full thing. But essentially what it comes down to is that the console version of the game will be locked at 30 FPS and won't have a performance mode / quality mode / gameplay mode or whatever mode all these games have, where you have all these different settings, right? And so if you don't know what I'm talking about, typically with next gen games, because you don't have access to PC settings where you just have an array of settings that you can go through, increasing your resolution and frame rate, and if you want VSync and all of that stuff. On console, it's typically narrowed down to quality and performance. Quality being that highest resolution possible, usually locking you around 30 FPS, and then performance lowering you down to as low as 1080p, sometimes 1440, and giving you 60 or plus frames per second. And so with Gotham Knights, you're going to be locked at 30 in 4K with ray tracing enabled. Again, an option that most games let you toggle on and off to increase that frame rate. And so while this is objectively a bad thing, I mean, the more frames the better, but the reason given for this frame lock in a lot of the tweets and some of the discussions from the Discord have nothing to do with console limitations, or if for some reason that was a stylistic choice, which it's not here. It's purely gameplay based. And so the reason I've seen going around over and over again is this thing that was brought up in a trailer probably a couple months back, where they talk about this untethered gameplay system for co-op, right? So you and your friend can be doing completely different things while within the same game world, right? And if that's so unique and so important to the game that it hinders the frame rate that much, this has to be a huge feature. This can't be something where, or there's no 100-meter tether on you and your teammate, so we're locking at 30 FPS. That can't be it. This has to be something big and a huge mechanic that's unique to Gotham Knights. Otherwise, I mean, cutting your frame rate in half for a mechanic that something like Far Cry has had for the past 4 entries, I mean, really isn't anything that unique. Now, obviously, we won't know until the game launches, or if they decide within the next week to make a trailer or tweet something about it to explain this more, but this is something that I think is going to be huge on the game as a whole, because I'm one of those people that I will play in 1080p if it means I get a higher frame rate. Now, once you pass that threshold of like 100, which isn't really a concern on console anyways, but regardless, after 100, I really don't think you're noticing that big of a change. I mean, from 100 to 150, I don't really notice a difference there. But 30 to 60 is a pretty drastic difference, in my opinion. A game that runs in 30 FPS and then has been remastered for Series X and now runs in 60 FPS, even in the same resolution, looks drastically better. So this will be something that might contribute to the score if it really hurts the graphics that much playing in that 30 FPS and it doesn't back it up in some other way in the gameplay section. But that's just some news for the game. I'm kind of excited for this game. I had absolutely no hope for it, but then more and more gameplay came out, more and more trailers, I heard more and more about it. That and the fact that this and Call of Duty are pretty much the only things coming out for the rest of the year, so I have to put my hope in something, and God knows I'm not putting my hope in Call of Duty. So we'll see where this goes. I mean, it could be on my best games of the year, it could be on my worst games of the year. I'm already starting that list up. But you guys let me know what you think of this news, if you think it's purely a console limitation, if it's a stylistic choice, if it's some type of gameplay mechanic. I mean, it's all speculation at this point, but we'll see in about a week when the game launches. That's all I have for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I felt that this news was important enough to talk about because, there's news that comes out every day. Like, Starfield has like 60,000 lines of dialogue or something, but that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Like, cool, but if the game's bad, the game's bad, right? I felt this was significant enough to talk about, and you guys let me know what you think down in the comments below.